Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call to order tonight's meeting, Michigan City Sanitation Board meeting. I'd like to call to order Commissioner Holt, Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Peller, and myself, Gary Mitchell. Present and absent is Frank Harris. I'd like to get approval for the minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the regular board. Will there be any public comments? We'll get that one out of the way. Are there any public comments? Okay, financial report. Kistler.
No, we've got number
Opening
five.
bids.
Oh, opening bids, I'm sorry.
We've got these, you need to ask if there's any more bids for the dump truck.
Will there be any more bids for the dump truck? Will there be any more bids? If not,
Bids are closed.
bids are closed.
Okay, the first one we have is from Truck Centers Incorporated in South Bend, Indiana.
Karnak.
Oh, North.
Looks like there's just one here. I thought there were 3 copies in there. Oh, that might be what you need.
Yeah.
No, this is just the exception sheet.
Is there anybody here?
Left-hand side.
Anybody here from?
Yes, I am.
Right there.
I see it.
There's a bid for my left.
Thank you.
The total bid price as bid, excuse me, is $564,022 even. 564,022 even.
Next one we have is from Trans Chicago Truck Group in Gary, Indiana.
Get the bid on. The total bid price is $558,126 even. 558,126.
And the next one is in this UPS envelopes, or I'll have to open it up first, see who it's from. Looks like it's from Stoops Freightliner in Anderson, Indiana. Well, right on top there. Stoops is coming through for us.
Total bid price is $581,537 even. 581,537 even.
And this was for 3 dump trucks, just so you're,
Right, 3 CNG powered.
if you're wondering why it cost us so much. I think that's all we have, right? All we have is 3?
Yes.
I move that we have the staff review these and make a recommendation. Does the staff want to award these before the next meeting?
I don't think there's a big rush. I think the next meeting would be good.
Okay. Then I move that we have the staff review these.
Can we get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed. Okay, financials.
The first thing, I put new dockets in front of you tonight. When I sent out the board packets, the one I sent only had one of the summary pages with all the detail. All the detail hasn't changed, but there's one docket for the checks and one docket for the EFTs. So I kind of screwed that up, but that's why you got a new set. All the detail is, like I said, the same. So I'll start by reading the cash balances.
The totals are the same, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, this total is just for checks, and the second one I gave you, behind the bid, that's the,
Yeah, great.
that's the one you saw. I didn't have this one.
Correct. Thank you.
All right. The operating fund had $847,004.91. Improvement fund had $842,895.03. Vehicle replacement, $99,995.58. And the equipment replacement fund had $650,380.51 for a total in that bank account of $2,440,276.03. The Indian Springs project had $14,292.51, and the Whippoorwill project had $682.20 for a total in that bank account of $14,974.71. The SRF debt reserve had $496,621.08. The SRF bond and interest had $169,860.43 for a total at BNY Mellon of $666,481.51. Stormwater had $381,102.54. The refuse had $597,685.08. The special revenue account had $10,001.14. Levy excess had $8,522.14. And the rainy day fund had $81,307.78 for a total in that bank account of $1,078,618.68. Carwick remediation had a balance of $1,123,357.51 for a total cash balance of $5,323,708.44. And as you can see, compared to last year, the operating fund is about $300,000 better. Now, what's happening is we're not transferring as much into the improvement funds and other things, because we haven't had a rate increase for quite a while. So, and yeah, with the salary increases and stuff over the years, what's happening is, we don't have much to set aside for like infrastructure through improvement fund.
Well, plus we had a lot of projects.
And we had a lot of projects.
Probably more
Yeah.
in case there ain't.
Yeah.
Which account would those trucks come out of?
Yes.
The trucks, we'll get to that in a minute, but because there's a resolution I'm going to ask you to approve, and we're going to set up new funds for the grants so we can track them separately. So there'll be two new funds. So it'll be paid out of that fund, but we'll have to fund that fund out of probably the operating fund to do it.
The dump trucks?
Dump trucks.
No, that's already,
Oh, no, I'm sorry, you're right.
the dump trucks are gonna be paid through for grant money and then, through
Volkswagen, right?
appropriation from the city council.
From city council.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So we
because
wouldn't have to go in none of these.
No, I forgot about that.
Plus the
Sorry.
grant money. We got a nice chunk of grant money for those trucks too.
Yeah. That was part of the grant proposal because we got a letter from the mayor saying the city would
73,000.
contribute the other
You wrote that?
part. So good, I forgot.
All right.
That's
Yeah.
smooth, man. Good
Yeah.
job.
So overall, the cash is looking good. And last month we did have those projects finishing up. That's why it dropped from the previous month. This month we have 2 extra special pays. We have our longevity and 6 sellback. But we also transferred some money from stormwater to pay for the labor cost of the collections department, so they kind of offset. So I'm expecting it might go up maybe 100,000 over November. So, any other questions?
Good job.
Thank you, Mr. President.
And then the next thing is the budget performance report. This is just for the operating fund. I'm going through right now and reviewing it, and I'm going to make year-end adjustments. So at the next board meeting, I'll have the annual reports for the operating fund, the refuse fund, and the stormwater fund. So, but overall, all the funds are within budget, and they're going to be within budget, so everything looks pretty good. So, any questions on that
Just
one?
one comment. It's nice to see the professional services budget. It appears, the proposed budget seems to be increased.
Yeah, I
Well
did
done.
that.
Good. I'm glad you gave it that attention.
Yeah. And there will be some adjustments on that line in here, because some of it, yeah. And then the next thing is the operating budget just for the, I'm sorry, it's the budget for the operating fund. We've already budgeted the refuse and stormwater. I didn't change any of this from the last meeting, so I would just ask for the board's approval on the budget for 2020.
I move that we approve the 2020 operating fund as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next thing is a services agreement, and this is actually an exhibit to the existing services agreement, right?
Yes.
As you know, we've contracted SEH to do a inventory of all of the city's assets, and we need that to develop a asset management plan for any future like SRF debt. So this is like kind of step one is to do an inventory, and then step two will be to develop an asset management plan.
Right, which also has to include a cybersecurity, plan as well.
Right.
Protection plan.
And that cybersecurity audit, that's pretty close to being completed. I believe it's complete except for possibly the water department. They're working with them because they're part of it. So, but that one's, so I would just ask for the board's approval of this exhibit.
I move that we approve Exhibit A-2, the Michigan City Sanitary District Engineering Services contract with SEH of Indiana LLC.
Can we get a second?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Yeah, on page 3 is, I think, these were the changes, right?
Yeah.
Like the extension of time.
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed in the extension of time
Right.
were the changes. That's why we're asking, because it's taken a little while. And once they saw the number of assets that were involved and everything, I really believe a lot of it's going to be done in the first quarter. But we just thought it was better to extend it into June. The other thing this thing does, the asset module in our new financial system, we haven't used it yet, and this will help us populate that so we can start using that module in the new software.
Plus, we're helping them as they go along too. For instance, they came up with like a sheet for us to fill out for every one of our listings. Not for us, they were gonna go fill it out, but we went around and filled it all out ourselves, so we've already got that done. So hopefully the not to exceed will be less than that too.
Okay. All right, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then the last thing I have is, this is a resolution to establish 2 funds to track grants. One's for the operating fund, and one is for the tax levy funds, which are basically stormwater and refuse. And that's where we'll manage that Volkswagen Trust. That will be in the refuse one, but all the Cheney Run stuff will be in the stormwater. But that's in that fund number 8220. And this is similar to what the city does, because when you do the budget, especially for stormwater, that professional services line, we actually get reimbursed for all that. So by setting up these funds, it will keep it out of the normal tax levy. And I believe these are non-reverting funds. So, we don't really have to budget per se for these because they're non-reverting. But the funding will come out of other funds.
Well, I move that we adopt resolution number 1412-19, establishing funds or grants.
I'll
Can we get a
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
vote.
If you don't have any questions, that's all I got.
Very good, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
John.
Thank you.
President Mitchell, would it be okay if you allowed me to kind of skip around on the agenda a little bit?
Sure.
Because Commissioner Smith needs to leave at 4:30, and I was thinking if we could go through some of the items that we need approval on. Would that be all right with the rest?
Yes, sir.
Would that be all right with you, sir?
That'll be fine.
Okay, the first thing that I'd like to go to is under item 7, Roman numeral 2, is the safety, the professional service agreement, excuse me. Every time I hear PSA, I always think public service announcement. The professional service agreement for the safety work that Mr. McCoy does for us. His agreement was in your packet, and I'd like to ask the board to approve that for 2020. It's amount not to exceed $6,480 a month, and he provides us a 12.5% discounted rate of $144 an hour as compared to his normal rate of $165. And I think you guys all know the fabulous work that he does for the sanitary district and helps out the city a lot of times too. So I'd ask for approval of this
Yeah, after
contract.
review, I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and the next one I would like to skip to would be V3 engineers. On item B, Roman numeral I. It says in your packet, award of construction contract, but that's not accurate. What we would like you to do, what we'd like today is to, there should be a letter in
Should
here.
have been a letter, one-page letter for
What number
B3.
you on, Mike?
B as in boy, page 2.
Page 2B at the top.
Okay, all right,
And
here
it's
we go.
item Roman numeral I-B. There is this document in here dated November 26, 2019, which talks about the bid from HRP was $711,000 for the wetland part and $18,000 for the sediment trap. And then also there was the cost for the stormwater portion also. But anyways, that stormwater chamber that would go into the Cheney Run storm sewer, I believe that was $948,000. But what we'd like to do is get approval to award the bid, not the contract, but just the bid, to the lowest responsive party.
So move.
Can we get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And then what I'd like to ask the board members, if we could, we need to get this project going because of work that needs to be done because of the salmon that run up the stream and so forth. And what I would like to ask the board is approval for myself and Mr. Stanford and Mr. Meyer to review the terms of the contract. And we also need to make sure about all our grant funding. You know, we have,
At least 3.
3 grants that are covering this. One is $450,000. One is, depends on how much we match. I think it might be close to about the same amount. So we have a lot of grant money, but we've got to work, make sure it's all going to line up with what we need to do, since the project came in a little lower under cost for the wetlands part, but higher than we thought for the stormwater part. So we'd like to flush that out. And if we do that, we would like to enter into a contract with your approval, with my review and Stanford's review and Mr. Meyer's review, if we could get approval for that.
So moved.
Can we get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The next thing that I have on this subject is,
Professional service agreement.
Oh, yeah, okay, there's a professional service agreement in there
On the
for,
agenda. What number?
it's the same one, just should be the next thing in your packet. Professional service agreement for V3 to do the construction observation and inspection during the construction. And again, most of this will be covered by the grant. And we'd like your approval for this V3 contract for the construction observation, construction inspection and administration, it's called.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
Okay. And then we have this thing here, if you'll take one, Mr. Mitchell, and pass it around, please. This is the, it's not highlighted on your packet.
You got
because
another one?
No, I had 4. Oh, here you go. Maybe that's the 4th one.
Thank you.
It's not highlighted on your packet. We really just received this. This is the donation of the land for the Cheney Run project that we need to get the
Oh,
donation from
great.
GAF. This is the agreement. Me and Mr. Meyer have reviewed it, and we need to add a couple of commas in one sentence because it's just not really worded correctly, and we need to make sure that it is. And there's a couple other things that we're concerned about some of the dates and that they need us to get stuff done by, but we think we can work through that. And we want to make sure that our phase 1 that we have for the property is still good also, so we don't take on any excess liability. So we want to work through those changes, but again, I would like to ask the board, it's free, they're giving it to us for free. They just want a fence up and they want us to stay 250 feet away from their property with any trails and anything, which would be fine. And they want a sign that says that that they donated the land to us. They want some no trespassing signs and they want some trees planted to block the view, which will all be good because it'll block the view of their factory and help out with noise and stuff too. So we're close on this, but again, in the essence of time for construction, I'd like to ask the board to allow Mr. Meyer and Mr. Stanford and myself to review this and enter into this agreement.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
Okay. Okay, we already did the professional service agreement. I'm gonna skip down to Haas and Associates, if I could.
Right.
There's 2 things there. One is a professional service agreement for doing, again, construction, observation and inspection. And this is for not to exceed $85,000. And I would like to ask, and it's for the South Gate Project, Village Road and Southwind Drainage Improvement Project. I'd like to ask your approval for us to enter into this professional service agreement.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
And that is funded through the redevelopment commission, that project. The next thing we have is change order number 1 on this project, which here's a copy of change order number 1. If you'll take one and pass it around, there should be plenty of copies of that.
Is this it? We have in our packet?
No, it's different. It's different. What happened with what you had in your packet is that the cost was just gonna be too much and we really couldn't afford that. So we met today and reviewed the project and we were able to cut some costs off. Went from $144,000 down to $83,000 for the change order. Some of the numbers in the change order didn't change too much because they were things that they needed to do on the base project. This adds in alternative A, but cuts out portions of it so that we could come in at budget on the money that we have from set aside from the redevelopment commission. So I would ask for your approval for change order A, which is in the total amount of
84.
$84,027.72, and it brings the total contract price to $778,846.26.
So moved.
Can we get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
The next 2 things that I had are under my stuff that I'd like to get approved are under, it's on page 4, and I guess it's item E, Roman numeral 13, and that is Mayor Muir has sent out a memo, and it's in your packet, a letter about additional days for the city. And that is on Monday, the 23rd of December, and on Monday, December 30th.
On what page? 4.
Yeah, it's on the agenda, page 4.
Yeah.
Okay, what letter is that?
It's at the bottom of page 4.
Here.
On the
No,
bottom.
no, at the bottom.
Here's the letter.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
And I would like to ask your approval for those 2 additional holidays for sanitary district staff on December 23rd and December 30th.
So moved.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
All right, if you take one of these and pass that along, please. And then one of these and pass that along. This is something that's the last item there, it's item 14. This has been brought to my attention by the Andrew Smith, who is the Human Resource Director for the City of Michigan City, that the current mayor, Mayor Muir, and she tells me that Mayor-elect Perry would like to see the drug-free workplace and substance abuse policy uniform across the city. Many of the departments have everyone can be randomly tested for drug and alcohol, and some departments have only CDL drivers that can be technically randomly tested for drugs and alcohol. Obviously, if our handbook currently says if you have any suspicion of drug use, and we've employed that several times, but this would be a policy change to our current handbook that would provide for everyone to be in the pool for random drug testing. And apparently this is going to go in front of the Board of Works on the first Board of Works meeting in January. And the one document shows you the changes that were made by myself, and then Mr. Meyer edited them up, some additions in blue, and then the other copy is a clean copy with all the changes put into place. And basically one of the things that I cleaned up was the prescription drug use, because that wasn't really spelled out very well. It said that you had to notify the superintendent, but it didn't say how, and then it also didn't have any ramifications if you didn't do that. So we added that in along with the random drug testing. So what I'd like to ask is for the board to approve this change to our policy pending the approval by the Board of Works in January.
So moved.
Can we get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, those were all the things that I had that I thought were urgent. We have some other things that will require your approval, some pay items and stuff like that, but those were, wait a minute.
Delta Institute Professional Contract.
Oh, I missed that one. The Delta Institute Professional Contract Agreement is in your packet. Also,
I was looking for it.
well, it should be in your packet, but I don't see it. I thought that was the one that you told me that I could just sign because there was no money that was involved.
I think it's under.
Yeah,
There's,
it is in there. I mean, there's,
Oh, it's the email?
yeah,
there was
attached to the email is the agreement.
Okay.
yeah, this is just nothing that really needs your approval, but just to let you know, we're going to enter in again with an agreement from, with the Delta Institute to, service our grants and provide us with, this funding. So, just letting you know.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, I think that was all that I had for you, Mr. Smith. Now, if I could ask one more favor, Mr. President Mitchell, that John Doyle needs to get to another meeting after this, so I told him that maybe we can move him around, let him do his stuff
Sure.
next.
Wish everyone a happy holidays too.
Mr. Dahl. All right, have a great Christmas.
Your phone?
Thank you, Mr. Smith, for everything
Thank
you
you.
do for our board, and we appreciate everything. Good
Thank
luck
you.
at your
Have a
next
great
meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're on item
Thanks for everything you do.
8C, John Doyle and Associates.
Right.
Well, I have a couple of cleanup items on the alley north of Barker Avenue. This is all the project is complete, and then we submitted the final pay request for contractor on that job last month. And this is just for cleanup on our end. I have a pay request in the amount of $515.
I move that we accept this pay request from Doyle and Associates of $515.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
And a similar pay request for the Arthur Street project, which is complete. And that pay request is in the amount of $415.
I move that we accept this and pay John Doyle and Associates these $415 for the Arthur Street project.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
And on the US Highway 20 Street Arm Ditch project, wonders of all wonders. We have our permits from Army Corps, and Hell has frozen over.
Oh, gee.
So we're good to go there. That would probably start after the first of the year, but we have
Do
to
you have
meet.
copies of the permits?
Yes.
Too, John, can you supply us with those?
Yeah, we can give you one.
Give that to Mr. Stanford, will you, so he can put that
So,
in our file?
I would guess that we'll meet with the contractor, and weather dependent, probably start after the first of the year, at some point in January.
Good.
So, that's all I have.
Awesome.
Very good.
Thank you.
Great day.
Merry Christmas to all.
Great
Yeah,
holiday.
Merry Christmas to you.
Okay, if it's okay with you now, I'll let you go back to the regular schedule. We're on Mr. McCoy, 7A.
Mr. McCoy, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Good news, the last injury that we had was on October 8th. We haven't had any injuries to date since that time. So another thing that I'll highlight, we did complete our snowplow safety training, and we had 37 Michigan City Sanitary District employees that attended, plus 11 from the Public Works Department from Gary. So it was a really good session. Learned quite a bit. Good refresher for those that attended last year. And so we hope to see if we can't get Purdue LTAP to help us out on some additional programs in the future. One I'm looking at in particular is construction work zone safety. It doesn't seem that state of Indiana through the LTAP program has very much information regarding that, but other states do have programs that cover that, and so working with Purdue LTAP to see if we can't look at some of those programs and then ask them to present that here, and we'd be more than happy to host a session on that particular topic. Extremely important topic. So we need to make sure that we get that covered well. Also, first part of December here, we trained 16 refuse employees and 1 collections department employee on first aid. And that training was provided by the Michigan City Fire Department. No cost to us on that, so that was excellent. They do a fantastic job on that. Last but not least, I've had the opportunity to work on the Michigan City Committee on Lead, and last month was a busy month in November. 6.5 hours that of volunteer services provided, to that committee. I believe we're making some good headway on that.
Yes, we are. The lead committee's doing very well, and you participated at the schools, trying to pass out information about the city's lead grant that we have for the paint, lead abatement in the paint. Dan does a nice job of that. I mean, the guy really, if he ever loses his safety job, he probably could go sell cars, I think, with no problem at all. But he's really good with the people. No, all joking aside, he was at the school, and boy, the people would come by, and he had such a good demeanor and would talk to them about the program and stuff, and he's very successful.
Well, it's a really important program. We need to do all we can to get individuals and community members, excited about that and do something about it in their homes. So hopefully we continue to make a lot of progress in that. So
Well,
next,
yeah, on that, I still
Yes.
remember the graph that showed lead and 24 years later?
21
Yes.
years later, the
21.
crime.
The crime.
Yeah.
exactly.
That just,
Really hits you home. It
Oh,
really
It
yeah.
does. It does.
Yeah.
And some of the behavioral problems that
Yeah.
occur, it's
Yeah.
it's something we can fix too, and
Yeah.
so we should.
yeah.
So
Absolutely.
encourage folks that are listening in that consider that if you're in Michigan City, take a look at the program and see if it applies to you. So, okay. Next month I'll have a year-long summary and cover a few show and tell type things that we've done throughout this year. So,
Very good. Thank
and I
you.
wish everyone a
McCoy.
very good holiday, very happy and safe holiday.
Same to you.
Thank you, sir.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Weaver project.
I don't think there's anybody here from Weaver Consulting today, so I'll take care of that. The Carwick dump site / nature park project is going very, very well. I can report today that the bank has been completely stabilized and all the controls along the edge have been removed, and the property has been completely reseeded and all the earthwork has been done on the property, with the exception, the only thing we need to do is plant the trees and the shrubs, and that's about it. NIPSCO still needs to hook up their line for the lift station that pumps the collected leachate in. We're running that off of a standby generator right now. But other than that, the project is really going along fantastic. I believe substantial completion was supposed to be sometime in January, with final completion sometime in February. But I think we're going to be ahead of schedule on substantial completion. So the roadway's been put in, or the gravel roadway's been put into for the to get back to the lift station for service and so forth. So everything looks really good there. The only thing that we might have to go back and do because of the Cheney Run project, we're going to have a creek crossing to get the equipment across to the Cheney Run. So when that project's done, we'll have to go back and refurbish that one area of the creek bank. But it's going very well. We got a couple pay requests for that project. We've got one from Woodruff and Sons for the total of $289,000.
88.
Well, it's on the.
Oh,
It's 289. It's I saw that too. 289,052.74. We've reviewed this, and it's also been approved by the engineer, and we've also reviewed it and signed off for the verification of receipt of services. And I asked the board to approve this
so
pay
moved.
request.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
We also conducted some laboratory testing of our leachate that we have out there, and we've got a couple invoices for that. They're both from Microbac. The first one is for $225, and I asked for approval of that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
And
Aye.
the next one is for $920 for Microbac. I asked for approval of that. It's all been reviewed and signed off on by
So
staff.
moved.
Could we get a second?
It's nice to see in the invoice that they give really nice detail as to some of the things, as to what they did. It was
Yes.
Very good.
Yes,
Yeah, I'll second it.
and
The detail, much appreciated. Please pass that along.
they seconded it. So.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And also, the results are good. There's nothing in there that's going to cause us any troubles whatsoever, and the leachate treat through our treatment plant here. So, very good. So I believe that's, there's a Weaver, Haas and Associates, sorry, Haas and Associates General Engineering pay request with reference to, they considered the leachate force main. This actually goes back a ways. When we were doing the design, they did not put any air relief valves on the force main, and that was something that I brought up. I said, wait a minute, don't we have to have the air relief valves? We asked Mr. Mauer to take a look at how many we need and where they would need to go, and there was $256.20 on that. So that's pretty key too, because when you have the force mains, they can actually create like vacuums and then or pressure zones and won't pump. So I asked for approval
Airlocks.
of that. Yeah, airlock. Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed. And Weaver Consulting.
And then we have the Weaver Consultants pay request for the work that they do out there monitoring the construction project. And that's also been reviewed by staff, and we've signed off on that on our verification of receipt of services, and the invoice has been thoroughly reviewed, and the total amount on that is $6,773.50, and we'd like to ask for board approval of that also.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed. On that Cheney Run project where you,
No, we weren't done on that today.
right,
We have a gentleman here from V3 that was going to step up and give us a little update on where we stand on the project, and he's got some invoices that need pay requests also. So
awesome. Would you like to come up?
Sure. Yeah, that's great.
Greg is his name.
Yeah, thank you. My
Craig.
name's Greg Walterstorff. I'm Vice President with V3.
Normally the people sit up here where Mr. McCoy sat.
Great, thank
We
you.
get you on camera.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. Yeah, so where we stand on the Cheney Run is all permits are in place. As you just approved a little while ago, construction contracts have been received. And we also appreciate your approval of the construction oversight contract. As you know, we've got a sensitive wetland habitat that we're trying to create. You know, when you're in the process of creating wetland, missing by a couple inches actually is a big deal. And so it's important that we proceed correctly in this, have good close oversight with the elevations and then the planting that occurs there. So we're excited to get this underway. There is a timing constraint regarding the salmonid push through that river system. So some of the in-stream habitat work needs to be done, I believe, by March 15. And then the remainder of the project continues after that. So we're excited to get this thing off and rolling.
Okay.
Awesome.
And then there was a short little summary in the report, and then we already talked about the bid recommendation and the professional service agreement, and there were 3 invoices. Greg, I was supposed to.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
There were 3 invoices that need payment, and he's here if you have any questions about them. First one was a pay request, then reviewed by staff and so forth for review of engineering plans and on-site other work for the geo separator and so forth. Anyways, it's a total of $12,828.17. Been reviewed by staff and seems to meet all the terms and conditions of the contract, and we signed the verification. I asked for board approval.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No opposed.
And then there's another invoice for $17,000. Are these put together, Scott, or something, or
Yeah, it should be right there.
how much is it?
I see a 14.
$17,921.25.
Oh, I see. I'm looking at the wrong spot. I'm looking down here.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Top in the middle.
We have the other one here for the off-site separator. It's a total of $17,921.25, and I'd ask for board approval of that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
And then the other thing we have is we have a grant, another grant. We got so many grants you can't really keep track of them. We have another grant to help us design the recreational amenities that we want to have at the Cheney Run and the Carwood sites when we get done. And there's that actually is going very well. Sarah Evans from your office came to our Trail Creek watershed meeting that we have once a month, and she presented on that. And they talked at the meeting, which was last Wednesday, I want to say.
Right.
They talked about what should we do about this public outreach, because we need to have a public outreach meeting to talk about the amenities with people. And we picked a date at the meeting, which is odd in the first place. Since the meeting, they've got all the dates figured out, and they put together a whole plan that's going to have these 5 different stations, I think it is 5, where you go around at the public meeting and you can learn about different aspects of the project and everything. And they have it all laid out, what they're going to talk about and everything. So we're going to try to promote that. That public meeting is going to be the 5th Wednesday in January 29th at Krieger Memorial. So be something to come to if you want to hear about the amenities, the trails and so forth, hiking trails, fishing access and stuff like that they want to try to work on. And this invoice is for $5,152.50, and we've reviewed this and verified it and asked for board approval.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
Okay, and then we also have entered into a contract with V3 for Strebel Pond for putting together a maintenance plan for us. And this isn't actually the maintenance work. I know there's a sister Melanie with the diocese here in town contacted me, and she wants to know what we can do about this. And I told her that we're going to enter into a contract, and she called me back about, I don't know, probably 3-4 weeks later. So I haven't seen any work done yet. You told me you're going to do it. I said, no, it was just for the design. So she's a very nice lady, and I always tell her that one of my sister's names is Melanie, and so I told her that. So we got that in, and then she wanted a copy of the contract. She didn't really want one, but I said, hey, would you like a copy of the contract? She said, oh yeah, that'd be great. So I sent her a copy of the contract for the design, and this is all done. They've got the plan done to us. It's in draft form. We need to review it and finalize it, but there's a invoice for that for $3,200, and I'd ask for approval for that.
So moved.
Can we get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
And I don't know if you have any more questions for Greg, but we'd just like to say that I'd like to at least say we really enjoy working with Ted on this project, and he's really come up with an innovative design. The original cost was upwards of 1.2 million, and the project came in at $711,000. So I think some of his innovative designs and work that he's done really
It's a
helped us.
testament to his expertise, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Good job.
Glad to be working with you guys on this.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Have a great one.
Okay, so we did all
All
the
right.
Doyle stuff.
Yep, now we're up to.
Down to Haas. Or are we going to
Yeah.
Haas.
Item D, Mr. Haas,
Mr. Haas?
Mr. Mauer, and Mr. Loftus.
So the first item is the Southgate Neighborhood Stormwater Improvement Project. I can tell you right now that they've completed, I would say, roughly 75% of the stormwater work within the roadway area of Crestwood and Village. They haven't done any of the rear yard easement stuff, but they've completed a lot of work. And they're estimating probably they'll be complete with all of that work within the right of way, including the work that was just approved in the change order, probably before Christmas and definitely before the end of the year. So they're definitely ahead of their substantial completion date of January 10th.
And we've talked with Brian about providing extra assistance on the rear yard drain issues with reference to the professional service agreement that we have for the construction oversight and inspection. He's thinking there might be a lot of interaction with the homeowners on the rear yard drainage with fences that need to be moved and stuff like that.
In the Southgate area.
Yeah, yes, sir. So we're going to have our engineering staff try to do a lot of that work to cut back a little bit on the construction inspection and observation if we can, and work with Haas and Associates directly on that. So we think that's an area that we can be pretty helpful at with.
Great.
We do have a payment invoice here for $24,121.40 as well. We request
That's been
payment for it.
approved, reviewed, and approved by staff, and I'd recommend that the board approve that.
So moved.
Can we get all in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
Thank you. And then I did notice that there is not a, on the agenda at least, there isn't a pay application number one from the contractor. However, they did submit that, and we submitted our recommendation for payment of that application on December 11th. So maybe we could come back to that, or I could forward that. But I can.
What date did they send it?
December
I don't think I got it.
December 11th, and
Well, today's the 18th. I didn't get it by Friday the 13th. It wouldn't be on.
I think he sent it on the 11th, but
yeah, I sent it specifically before the deadline.
Did you copy me on that?
he might have sent it to me, and maybe I forwarded it to you, and maybe I forgot to. I don't know. Is that something that we can get the board to allow us to pay if we review it and approve it?
This is also, this payment application does not include the change order work, but so they've actually completed a lot more work.
How much was the pay application for, Ryan? Do
Pay-
you have a
the
copy
to-
of it with you or anything?
I have it on my phone here. I don't have a copy of it. It is a total of $160,905.34 is to be paid with a retainage of $17,878.37.
I would ask the board if you could allow us to review that and make sure that it meets all the terms and conditions of the contract and allow us to just sign off on that and pay that check.
If there are any issues, you'll bring it in
If there are any
January.
issues, we'll bring it in January, yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
All right.
And they'll be on the January docket.
Make a motion for staff.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And with that, I don't have anything else to update on that project unless you have any questions.
No, I'd just like to thank you. Do you have any questions? I just wanted to thank you for your time today and the meeting that we had. I thought was very good and helped us flush through some of these issues that we were having with reference to the amount that was approved by the redevelopment commission. And I think that was a good job by all. And I think we're on the right page, on the right path now to getting that done.
Thanks.
Thank you.
regarding the Long Beach sewer project. The
Yeah, we
preliminary
approved the change order already.
preliminary engineering report for a sanitary sewer for Lakeshore Drive is completed through the first 6 sections. Section 7 is the financial and managerial capabilities, which is awaiting the rate consultant's analysis of the project costs. And Section 8 is the public hearing results, which will be held after the financial work is done and the sanitary district and the town of Long Beach have reviewed it and have okayed the project. So that's it in a nutshell. I could go into a little further detail or not.
I asked you for a summary report, and you wrote a very thorough explanation of everything, and it was so long I didn't really want to copy it for everyone, but it was very nice.
Okay.
So you get paid by the word?
No, it was good.
No, that's good. No,
He's no lawyer.
Meyer gets paid by the comma. So we have to add those 2 commas to their agreement.
Just on this payment request though, I'm sorry. I've got the thing from Ryan, but I don't have the actual invoice here.
Oh. I thought it was in the same email, no?
Yeah, I believe it is from the
Well, the one
contractor.
you just forwarded, and he only has one.
All right, well, I'll look some more while you're
Oh,
talking.
wait.
I thought it would be good if we could print it
Oh, I
out.
see it, I'm sorry, it's out to the right.
Print it out for the board members so you have it
Yeah,
in your packets. All right, very good. So we're
And then there's an invoice
Mhm.
regarding that project.
for the amount of what, $5,683.75?
Right.
And this has been reviewed by staff, and we would recommend your approval, and I want everyone to remember that this will be paid back by the town of Long Beach at some
I'll make
point.
that motion.
second,
All in favor?
aye.
No opposed.
And then regarding the North End project, quick update is that we've completed about 99% or so, 99% of the surveying of the structures within the project area, with the exception of 4th Street. On 4th Street, which is kind of built separately as an hourly rate because due to its complexity in that corridor, we have completed about 50% of that so far. So the next step in the project will be compiling all that data into the shapefile database and analysis and modeling after that.
And you have an invoice here of $19,359.65, which has been reviewed by staff, and I recommend approval.
This is the sewer flow capacity analysis, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
Any other questions? Thank you very much for all your hard work, and I hope you guys have a nice Merry Christmas and a nice
Same to
holiday.
all of you.
Likewise.
Happy
Thank you.
holidays.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
All right, the next one on this is.
Michael.
Refuse dump trucks, we've already talked about those. The Broadway storm sewer engineering proposal, as I explained at the last meeting, we are going to hold off on that till next year. That's a John Doyle proposal. We also have done some of our own in-house engineering with our engineers and got some cost estimates and actually ordered, got bids and quotes and everything, and got equipment to install a dry well in that area. So we're going to install a dry well in that area and see how that works. And if it works wonders, which it may work wonders, we'll have to see. And we may just shelve the Broadway storm sewer engineering proposal. But if it looks like we need to do more work on that, we will maybe revisit that next year. Energy project and lighting, your monthly progress report is in your packet, and the numbers for December are highlighted in red, and you can see that we saved approximately comparatively $4,522.81 in December, and our total savings that we're looking at That's on the second page. Projected savings is about $63,200 for the first year. And then as far as the billing demand goes, you might remember we installed those capacitors, and we weren't reaching, it's on the second page or third page.
Yeah.
We were not meeting the 95 factor that you get surcharged if you do not meet the 95 factor. And since we've put the capacitors in since September, the lowest amount we've had since then is 99.99. And we've had 1, 2, 3 100s, and to take that back, we had a 99.98. Yeah, and all the rest have been 99.99 or 99.98. So as you can see, that has been working like a charm. And just to reiterate one more time on that, as I told you before, when he came to me with the proposal to ensure that we were going to be above 95, I said, what's it going to be? So make sure that we're above 97, because I want to have a little cushion in there. And we paid a little extra for a few more capacitors, but this way we don't have to worry about not meeting 95, as you can see. So I think that was a really good thing to do. So we're doing good on that. Okay. The next thing I have there on the energy study is the annual report. We received the annual report, and we are still not happy with the findings that they gave us in the report. Ryan Byers has been working very diligently on that, myself and included, and also Mr. Meyer, and Steve Stafford has been weighing in also. We had a meeting with ESG scheduled for Monday, December 16th, and we ended up doing it via a phone conference, and really didn't really get super far, but we came up with some next step items that we're going to approach, and then we're going to try to get back to them to see if we can't come to some agreement on this report, annual report. But until such time, I'm not willing to sign off on the annual report until we flush out some more of the stuff regarding the guaranteed amount of savings that we were supposed to be guaranteed. So let's leave it at that, if that's okay with the board, and have some more information for you at the next meeting. Okay?
Awesome.
The Bailey cleaners and groundwater contamination, that's all the same. They've done a little more, not for the Bailey, not for the site that was on Michigan Boulevard, but a different Bailey cleaners. They've been doing some additional work for in relation to the station block area. You might see some work on that. Ohio Street, is Johnny Gorsuch still here? Is that been closed out now by the Board of Works finally, or?
No, it wasn't on the agenda, so it's gonna be, next month.
Okay, it was supposed to be officially closed out at this month's Board of Works meeting, but I guess it didn't.
Board
make-
of redevelopment.
Redevelopment Commission, sorry,
All right.
the wrong board. But I guess they didn't get it on the agenda, so it'll have to wait till the redevelopment commission meeting in January. It'll be final approved. But I understand everything is taken care of there. We're still monitoring that one manhole that sunk a couple of times and refixed it. They fixed it, but that'd be serviced under warranty if it happens again. Okay, the next thing I have is the South Shore freight oil release that received a lot of public attention and so forth. And as I explained in the public meeting that we had at City Hall, the only knowledge that we received about this was after the fact, and that was from IDEM, and they weren't really too concerned about it. They were telling us that they were looking for this oil sheen, but they were basically concerned about what we were doing at Carwick Nature Park, and we went around and around about Carwick Nature Park. But subsequent to the public asking, what was going on, we dove right into that situation, and we went out there and did a thorough inspection of the facility, and that resulted in a notice of violation being sent to South Shore Freight. The notice of violation was sent out on December 10th. It's in your packet. Basically, it requires them within 30 days to pay a $2,500 fine to the city of the Michigan City Sanitary District for violations of the section code, city code 46160, which talks about you can't have anything going into a storm sewer or coming out of a storm sewer except stormwater. We also want them within 60 days to have training of their staff for spills. We want them to undertake actions and a scope of work that has been put forth by the Department of Environmental Management in a November 25th letter. The Environmental Management cited is sending them haven't really sent a notice of violation, but they're requesting them to do some work on site to delineate where this release, remember it was leaking from their refueling station, and where it is on the property and if it's going off the property. And so we're making sure that they take those actions. And then they also completed a industrial survey, and we're currently working on that. And we want to make sure they continue to work with us on their industrial survey for discharges that are discharged into the sanitary sewer system. The second letter is to Nickety. There's a lot of confusion about this. South Shore Freight, they're the ones that move the freight around on the rails. You see them in the city once in a while. They're a completely separate company from Nickety, which is the Northern Indiana Commuter Transportation District. They're a separate company. The release of the diesel fuel appeared to migrate onto the Nickety property and then got into one of their storm sewers and came out one of their storm sewer outfalls. So what we're asking, the letter that we sent to Nickety, is we're asking them to more closely monitor their stormwater outfalls. They are, I believe they have 4 of them, and they have a stormwater associated with industrial activity permit through the IDEM, and it's what they call a general permit or a permit by rule. You say that you're going to comply with the rule, and they issue a permit number that basically says, here's your permit. It's actually a permit, but it's a permit number, and then they say you're going to comply with the rules, and they put a copy of the rules in there. Well, the rules allow them to monitor one stormwater outfall only if it's characteristic of the other stormwater outfalls. So we're asking them, and they were doing that, but we're asking them to go a little beyond that and to monitor, when I say monitor, sample and visually check all of their stormwater outfalls on a more frequent basis. I believe we asked them to check them at least once a week visually, because we personally feel that had they been checking them a little more often, that there's a potential that maybe they would have noticed maybe not this bigger release that they had, but maybe some slight sheen or something, and could have had this stopped and not been such a issue that it was. So that's what we've asked them to do, okay? But we're not taking an action against them necessarily. And then the diesel fuel release report is behind that. This was work that Mr. Stanford and I did the inspection, and Mr. Stanford did most of the report. Of course, I reviewed it and made some edits here and there and worked on it a little bit collaboratively. This is not the entire report. It doesn't include all of the permits and everything that are referenced in here, but it does have all the pictures and explains the situation as we know it with the diagrams and stuff, how the diesel fuel got into the ground and how it got to their outfall. So please feel free to read that. It's all public record. So, okay?
It's really good work there,
Yeah.
Mr. Stanford and Mr. Cuss. Very good work.
Yeah, it's a good report. It really
Yeah.
is.
And necessary.
Yeah, we appreciate the compliments. The next thing we have is the digester electrical. Oh, sorry, what am I missing?
Blue Shadley.
Oh, Blue Shadley. There's an invoice from Blue Shadley, who is our attorney helping us with this case, and there's an invoice there for $2,461.10. That's been reviewed by staff, meets all the criteria that we normally use for this type of professional work, and we'd ask the board to approve that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
Digester electrical project is moving along very well. It's supposed to be done by the end of the year, and I think it's probably going to make it. It's pretty close. We might need to have a little extension maybe for a week or two, but they're moving right along on that project. So there's a little bit of a summary report in here. All mechanical equipment is on site but not installed as of yet. That was on December 18th. These projects move fast. So since the 18th, well, that was yesterday. So, that was for our meeting. So complete ductwork is installed, the makeup air unit for the digester building. Next thing they have to do is install the exhaust fan on the roof and make sure the roof is completed. Penetrations are located, make sure the MAU is properly anchored to the concrete pad, connect all the electrical connections, do a final walkthrough. So it'll be close whether it gets done. And this is something that is really a big safety issue. When the plant was redesigned in the 80s and reconstructed, it was really something that was a big oversight by the people that were here in my position at the sanitary district and the engineers that worked on this, because it was definitely not up to code. And frankly, I mean, I don't know that it's a high likelihood because, you know, it's been there for this amount of time, but could explode and the whole building could go up. And it's not really that uncommon. I'm sure you guys know where Goshen, Indiana is. It's just on the other side of South Bend. And their digester about, I want to say 10 or 15 years ago did blow up. And their building blew up. And luckily it would happen in the evening when nobody was around. But if somebody would have been there, could have definitely been certainly some fatalities. So
Also, it occurred more recently in Chicago.
yes, it did. Exactly. It didn't happen that long ago in Chicago. You're right. Forgot about that. And again, they were lucky that no one. There was one guy was trapped or something, but I think but he was able to get out. So this is something that definitely we needed to do, and we're about this close to having this done. And we have monitors in there that will monitor the gas and also take the air out and proper ventilations and so forth. So
When you look at the risk, it's very high consequence, but it's low probability. But if something does happen, it's the consequences are very severe usually. So that's why we undertook the project. It's about done now.
Very good.
Awesome.
thank you, Mr. McCoy. The next thing that I have on the agenda there is the White Ditch Clean Project. As you know, we had a request for quotes to do this cleaning on the ditch between Fire Road and the CSX Railroad. We did a wetland delineation report and we sent permit applications to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and to IDEM. I recently had a good discussion with the IDEM representative, Marty Moffett, would issue our 401 water quality certification permit, and then usually after that, the Army Corps will issue their permit. What he said was that we looked at this project from Friar Road to the railroad because we thought, hey, that's a segment of the ditch. Let's get it clean. He said that he's really going to have a hard time permitting that whole part of it because once you get past upstream a little bit from where that company's located that has their pipe coming out, it turns almost the ditch itself almost turns into a wetland. And I said, well, it's a regulated drain and we have authority. He says, well, I don't care if it's a regulated drain or not. It's really more of a wetland. And, it's going to be very difficult for me to permit this. So what he wants us to do is to scale the project back so that we're only doing a lot smaller portion of the project, which would reduce our cost, number one, for doing the dredging, and also allow us to get the permit to be able to do it. So there has been some progress on that. He's planning on coming out here, I believe, on the 26th or 27th of December, and I was going to meet with him, and we were going to go out and look at it and try to hammer that out a little bit. Good. Sewer maintenance policy, we told you at the last meeting that we had that updated. Remember, I passed it out, and our next step is to issue a notice to the contractors. We were thinking about having another meeting. I talked this over with Mr. Stanford and myself, and we kind of came to the idea of why don't we just send a new policy out to the contractors and see if we can't get some feedback like that. So we may do that as compared to having another meeting with them, but hopefully we can get that new policy, which is a lot more streamlined, in place, hopefully maybe January or February. The Blue Swag report is in here, details all of our grants, and not all of them, some of our grants that they're responsible for, and talks about our status of all those with this massive Excel spreadsheets that detail everything that we're doing. Yes, you need the magnifying glass, but we try to get it on one page so that it's not this long. But it just shows you the magnitude of all the work that we're doing with all these grants and so forth. So I hope you enjoy having that in your packet. We talked about the Delta Institute professional agreement already. That was the email that we're gonna enter into, or did enter into. I already signed it. They just have to sign it now. The next thing is, as you probably know, the airport authority here in Michigan City has received authorization from the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, to reconstruct US Highway 20 and to have a runway for planes that goes over US Highway 20. So I found out today, for those of you that have heard this before, I thought they were going to build like a bridge for the runway guess they will, but they're actually gonna take the road down like 20 feet. Because Highway 20 is gonna go down 20 feet. So I thought the runway was gonna be, you know, with the lay of the land was gonna be up in the air, but the runway is gonna be more even with the land around it, flat with the land around it, and the road's gonna go underneath. So, and what happened there is that we have utilities in that area that need to be moved, and we will get reimbursed by the FAA, but we have to spend our money up front and then ask for reimbursement. We found out today, in some vague terms, that the FAA made some type of a big mistake, accounting mistake. They don't have Kistler working over there like we do. So they are going to have to move their projects around now, and this project may be pushed back. It may not be pushed back at all, but it may be pushed back even maybe 2 or 3 years. So we will have probably one more invoice on this next month, but then we're going to put the design for moving those utilities on hold until they hear more from FAA. But I have an invoice here for the amount of $33,955.75. It's been approved, reviewed, and verified by the sanitary district staff, and I'd ask for your approval.
I move that we approve this Butler, Fairman, and Seifert invoice.
Mr. Meyer, under what agreement are we have the assumption that we're gonna get reimbursed?
Yes.
Yes.
We have a professional service agreement
Okay.
that was approved by the
Very
board
good. Okay.
a couple of meetings ago.
Okay, thank you.
We get a
I'll
second?
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
And then after that, we have the monthly reports from the staff. And next month, hopefully, we'll have the annual reports from the staff, which I think are even more impressive than the monthly reports. So is there any questions about the monthly reports from anybody?
Good
No,
report.
sir.
Just take a minute to highlight one or two of them that I'd like to. Mr. Milotovic's report, Superintendent of the Water Reclamation Department. Our CBOD 5 removal, which is basically your organic strength, was 97.8% in November. Our total suspended solids removal was 99.1%. Our ammonia removal, not quite as good as almost as good, I guess, as the capacitor, with 99.8% removal, and phosphorus removal was 87.2% removal. And those are all very good numbers. As you know, we like to run the disinfection a little longer in the year with people that use Trail Creek for fishing and so forth. Many times we get some very nice weather in November in the 60s and 70s, and people are out working in the creek and enjoying the recreation. So we like to make sure that we have good bacteria kill. But this year it got very cold very fast, and so we shut off the disinfection on November 11th. It's a little bit of a problem for us to. It's not a problem for us to disinfect in the colder weather, but the sulfur dioxide is a gas, and at certain cold temperatures, it almost starts to liquefy, and we have a hard time feeding it if it gets super cold. So when it got down to like 5 degrees there in early November, we decided we better hang it up for the year, and it never did really warm up, so I don't think it was a problem. So we shut that off there. The operator's report, we processed about 7,810,000 gallons of wastewater per day for a total of 234 million gallons of wastewater in November. And then, of course, these are the results that I just read you, that clean water that's going out. So collections department had 559 work orders for the month that were all completed, and 533 locates. I don't believe we have this new system on. Remember you approved that new? Oh, it's finally starting to work? Okay, great. In the system. Maintenance had 116 preventative maintenance work orders, 75 requested work orders, 51 for vehicles, 11 for lift stations. Total work orders generated were 191, and 187 were complete, and there were 4 open ones as of November 30th. So, and then of course our lab. I don't know if there's a total here, but you can see the numbers that they test for all the different parameters. For instance, for ammonia, we've got 360 tests a month. Phosphorus, 360 tests a month. A lot of testing going on in the lab. Mr. Basil always puts together a very nice report. You can see his. These are the maps that he asked that he develops each month. I asked him to put that together each month. Does work for all the cities, so that's good. Leave it at that on those reports. There's certainly more and a lot more information. I just like to highlight a few of those. The refuse tonnage for November was a grand total of 1,058 tons for November, and that compared to 1,230 tons for October. And I believe that's all the reports that I have, so I think we're up to Mr. Meyer, President Mitchell.
Mr. Myers.
I don't have anything to add, but I'll answer any questions if anybody has them.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of you.
Alrighty, thank you. Same to
We
you.
appreciate your guidance, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm working with everybody on all these things. Don't need to reiterate.
No, he's highly involved, and the thing is too, the man responds quickly. You send him something for review, and you practically hit send, and he's already replying back sometimes.
Yeah, that's very nice to have.
No, it is,
And
because
I'll tell you, this board has been so easy. We've got a great department head, and we've got an attorney that, knows a lot about sanitary districts and a lot about the law. And so between the two of you, this is a very easy job.
thank you very much.
I'd like to say Merry Christmas to everybody and Happy New Year's to everyone.
We still got to do item 11.
Right.
Okay.
Like I said, it's been a great experience, though. Let's go ahead and approve the revenue.
So moved.
All in favor?
Second.
Aye.
All.
Second.
Will there be any old business? Will there?
Just a quick question. Michael, this is a question for you, Michael. Have we moved on that sewer maintenance policy at all?
I was talking about it earlier. We presented it at the last meeting, the updated policy, and we told you at the last meeting that we'd like to reach out to the contractors again to have a meeting with them to go over the new policy and get their feedback on it. And then Steve and I were talking, and we're kicking around the idea of, instead of having a meeting, just sending it out to them and having them review it and then maybe get back to us with their comments instead of maybe a meeting. We still haven't decided on that yet.
Okay.
It was a little bit quick with the holidays and so forth to get back here, and as you can tell, we're doing a lot of different things, but we will definitely follow up on that because that's something we need to get in place. As a matter of fact, the same situation that we're trying to avoid, where we had a situation on Wabash Street where a contractor went out and did some work, and guess what? They got their root cutter stuck in the person's lateral, and now it's all messed up, and we didn't know about it until days later when the homeowner called us. So that's the type of thing that we would find out with this policy. So we should be getting notified by the contractor, when they're going out to do that work, and they have to be registered with the sanitary district too. So they would, we'd go over these policies with them. So it would certainly help out in the, trying to be customer service is the name of the game here. It's customer service, and our customers are the citizens of the city of Michigan City, and of course our visitors too. And in this case, when somebody's coming in here and telling us what happened, we could have maybe been a little bit ahead of the game. Had we known they were going out there, we could have followed up on it already. I mean, it's worked out okay. We were able to, within, 10, 15 minutes after they came in, we probably were out there looking at their sewer and videoing it. But okay,
Thank you.
Awesome.
looks like you might have something else you want to ask about.
Mm-hmm.
Last meeting, we advised, Attorney Meyer advised the board that we could approve payment condition on that fence cleaning at North Barker Avenue between York Street.
That got done and cleaned, and we approved it.
Yeah, I know we approved it with regards to that condition. I just was following up to make
No,
sure.
I mean, the work got done.
Okay.
And we approved the
You got it.
final
Very
payment
good.
for that
Thank you.
project based
Okay.
upon what
Just
you're.
wanted to follow up. I didn't hear
That's a
anything about that.
good question.
Thank you. Good.
When I say it got done, the fence got cleaned. and
Thank
we
you.
were able to sign off on it.
Got it.
I want to make sure you
That was,
understand.
that was my question.
Yeah. I
Just to
understand.
follow up on our previous month's minutes.
Action items.
All right. Will there be any old business?
We had old business, that was.
Yep, that was
Okay.
Now we're on
New business.
I would like to just take a minute or so and really would like to thank Mr. Peller for his service on this board. He's done a fantastic job of pushing us
Yeah.
into doing better and all at the same time being very supportive of everything, that we do, when it's proper to be supportive. When there's something that maybe you don't think we're doing right or that we could do better, you're right there with the advice and you're right there with the constructive criticism. But for the most part, you're very supportive of the sanitary district and Michigan City. And we have accomplished so much over the 8 years with you on this board. And I hear it all the time when I go out to public meetings, everything that's getting done, with this Michigan City Sanitary District and all the grant money, so much grant money, millions of dollars of grant money speaks for itself too. And I just want to tell you that I really appreciate everything that you've done for the board and for Michigan City, and we're going to miss you and stay in touch, okay?
We'll do that. Thank you.
Very welcome.
Okay. I'd like to adjourn the meeting. Next meeting is in January the 22nd, 2020.
2020.
Next year.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's, everybody.
Thank you.